Cursed artifacts. Cursed items are those artifacts that, according to legend, bring bad luck to their owners. In the ancient world, curses and black magic were very popular and were used for blood feuds, to protect one's belongings in tombs, to plot misfortune on one's enemy and much more. And to this day people believe that some ancient objects found during excavations, or even places where something irreparable happened, are filled with negative energy of people that wish others evil. Today we will tell you about little-known artifacts, the owners of which should definitely not become. The curse of the stolen ring of Synicius. Around the 4th century AD, a Roman named Silvianus, who lived on the territory of modern England in the county of Gloucestershire, decided to visit the then popular Celtic baths that were created specifically for the glory of the god Nodens. The temple of this deity is located on the river Severn, which was located in the city of Lydney, and Nodens himself was considered a Roman British deity, patron of medicine, hunting, and the seas. After visiting the temple and baths, the Roman noticed that his favorite ring had been stolen. It is not known why he thought that a man named Synicius was the thief, but Silvianus went back to the temple and prepared the so-called plate of damnation, which consisted of a deep lead bowl with an inscription in Latin. And this is what the Roman wrote on it: an offering for the god Nodens. Silvianus has lost the ring and gives half its value to the god. Until it is returned to the temple of Nodens, a man named Synicius will be sick and weak. This discovery was made by archaeologists in 1929. Mortimer Wheeler, a famous British archaeologist, drew a connection between the decorated ring and the bowl in question. Of course, it is not known whether the ring is connected with it, but the name Synicius was not widespread at that time, and therefore there is a possibility that Mortimer's theory is quite justified. It should also be noted that the archaeologist appealed to a famous writer, namely Tolkien, to help him establish the identity and origin of the god Nodens, as well as determine how he was connected to this ring. To this day, it is believed that Synicius' ring is a kind of inspiration for the legendary Ring of Omnipotence from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The gold rush and artifacts in the Karun hoard of Lydians, in 1966 in Turkey, namely in the province of Uşak, a phenomenal discovery was made at the time. Archaeologists dug up over 300 Lydian artifacts that are attributed to Karun, aka Croesus, king of Lydia. After the 363 artifacts were removed from the ground, they caused a lot of trouble for the group of archaeologists, and locals to this day say that they cursed not only them, but also the Turkish land itself. As time went on, it began to seem that this treasure only brought more trouble, and so, even at the celebration in honor of the opening of the tomb, people were afraid that it might turn out to be something terrifying. So why did this treasure get such a stigma? It's all about the so-called gold fever, a disease or curse that affects archaeologists who have found incredible treasures. According to the interpretations, this fever turns a person into an addict of found things, makes him greedy and avaricious, pushing him to take possession of an even bigger piece of treasure. Today, these antiquities are on display at the Museum of Archaeology in the province of Uşak. It is worth noting that for more than 6 years for them there was a desperate struggle between the Turkish authorities and the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which was located in New York. And not so long ago, in 2006, a shocking announcement was made: one of the artifacts found in this collection was recognized as fake. The problem is that no one knows for sure whether these forgeries were the work of the owners of the New York Museum, an attempt by archaeologists to seize the treasures and replace them with forgeries, or one of the cases of tomb vandalism and looting that are not uncommon today. Or perhaps it is a manifestation of the so-called Karun curse. Tutankhamun's trumpets that fuel wars. In 1922, a group of archaeologists led by Howard Carter found the tomb of King Tutankhamun in Egypt. It is believed that this tomb, almost untouched by time and thieves, served as a source of invaluable knowledge about the culture of ancient Egypt, its customs, history, and other equally important facts. Among all the valuable things placed in the tomb, archaeologists were particularly interested in a set of trumpets made of various materials, ranging from wood to bronze and silver, which to this day are covered with a dark mystery. In 1939, BBC Radio broadcast a pre-recorded sound of one of the trumpets, which the scientists wanted to show to the world, demonstrating the sound of this unique instrument. Curiously enough, just a few months after this radio broadcast, World War II broke out. Coincidence or really the effect of a curse? Scientists claim that such trumpets were used in ancient Egypt for military purposes. They were used to sound warnings about the approaching enemy army, and also sounded orders leading soldiers into battle. The famous Egyptian archaeologist Zahi Hawass believes that these trumpets could absorb the energy of war and a certain mystical and magical power. Another Egyptologist, Hala Hassan, who is a proponent of the curse theory, claims that in 1967 and 1990 these pipes were used again, which explains some of the world events. She also claims that the unfortunate events of 2011 are also related to the use of these trumpets. It sounds almost ridiculous and unrealistic, but this is what sparked the story of King Tutankhamun's curse. Cursed jewelry, the history of the Hope Diamond. Today, there is an opinion that this one of the most famous gemstones is truly cursed, as there are rumors that all the people who had something to do with it in one way or another suffered misfortune. It is believed that this stone comes from India, where it was the main ornament of an ancient idol in one of the temples. It was then stolen by a priest who died a slow and painful death, and afterwards the stone appeared in a mine on the Krishna River, whence it was obtained in its present form. Another story says that the stone had a very European owner, namely Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, better known as one of the most successful French thieves. It is believed that he was struck by the so-called gold fever, after which he tried to steal the stone, failed and was torn to shreds by wolves. Unlucky mummy. A lot of mysterious stories and dark rumors revolve around such an artifact as the unlucky mummy. It comes from ancient Egypt, and was found around the 19th century, after which it was tried to bring it to Europe. The story of this unique antiquity was first printed in Pearson's magazine. It is worth noting that in fact it is not even a mummy, but rather its sarcophagus. It is believed as if it was found by an Arab, that afterwards sold it to a certain Mr. W. at a party, as he represented the interests of a famous British lady. The publication states that one of the attendees of this party was accidentally shot in the arm by his servant with a pistol, which for unknown reasons exploded as it was fired. As the injury was considerable, the arm had to be amputated. Another man involved died under strange circumstances of poverty during the following year. A third party member was shot and killed. After the owner of the mummy arrived in Cairo, he found that most of his treasure had been lost, and so it is believed that this news reduced him to the grave. The mummy was afterwards sent to England, where, according to the journal, a certain Mr. W. presented it to his influential sister. It is stated that this might have been a woman named Miss Warwick Hunt. After such a gift, misfortunes descended upon her house, resulting in complete financial ruin. There was a rumor that the mummy had been on the Titanic and caused the ship's deadly collision. One person claimed the mummy, at the peak of her wrath, had been presented to the Kaiser and caused the outbreak of World War I.